Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. Hoolie's here to tell me something. Were you waving, Hoolie? Did I screw it
No, I
up?
was just saying hi.
Oh, all right. Well, after last time, I started the show without starting the show, so I was just making sure I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I was checking on it too.
Awesome.
So
Thanks.
we're
I'll
good.
talk
We
to you.
started great.
Awesome. All right, everybody. So this is the Immigration Answer Show. This is episode number 207. Happy to be with all of you. Hope you all had a happy Father's Day for those in America who celebrate Father's Day. Happy Monday and happy Juneteenth. Yesterday was the celebration of the ending of slavery in the United States. We had a really nice weekend. On Saturday, I went down with Noor to see some of her friends play on her softball team. Her thumb is still in a cast. She's getting her thumb re-examined tomorrow at 3:30 to see if she'll be able to play in a tournament next week in Branson. Um, on Sunday, we had a wonderful Father's Day. So, for those of you who don't know, my dad passed away last December on December 2nd. And we all knew this was going to be a tough Father's Day. But on that day he died around 3 in the afternoon. And I went home that night and I was looking at all the old video footage that I had of him. And since then, I've been working on making a movie about my dad. And you guys know, obviously, that I like video. And luckily, we have video from when I was 10 and 14 and 18 and 21 with him and my sisters and my mom. And so I had also, when he turned 70, which was 10 years ago, I started videotaping him and interviewing him about his life and asking him questions and all these things. So I've had all this footage saved on my computer and saved on drives and actually some even on old tape. And we were able to convert all that down to digital. My good friend Justin helped me with that. And then I've been editing it for the last couple months. And yesterday we got a little room at Lifetime Fitness. They have this little theater room, and I showed my mom and my sisters and my all of our families the video, and it was great. It was a great celebration of my dad. It was great to see him and to sort of be with him on Father's Day. We really liked that. So then we went out to breakfast after that, and then we went to the cemetery and visit him there. And then we went back to my house. My family went back to my house, and we got in the pool. And then I got presents, and I got to open my presents, and we had a really nice day. So it was a really nice Father's Day for me. I hope it was for you, even for those of you who might be suffering after the loss of a parent. So, immigration wise, I shot 2 new videos today. They'll be dropping later on this week. One was sort of a new rule that I'm going to announce. And that rule is regarding when you should be worried about your marriage-based green card case. So that'll drop next week. And the other video I did was on a new trick at USCIS, which we learned about on this very show. So stay tuned for both of those videos. They should be good. I really enjoyed doing them and working on them for you. And that new trick is a crafty one that we'll probably talk about more than once on this show. But it's for those of you who think that it's okay to apply for a visit visa or to have your girlfriend or boyfriend apply for a visit visa before they apply for a fiance or a spouse case. In the old days, that was no big deal. But in this video, I talk about how it's now coming back to bite people, and you need to be really careful about it. So with that being said, it looks like Hoolie's lined up some folks for us in the waiting room. So if you want to join the show, make sure that you click on that link that Hoolie dropped. And also, if you haven't already, please go ahead and leave us a comment where you're watching from and maybe what immigration type case you're working your way through. All right, so let's get started. And our first guest today will be Franklin. What do you say, Franklin?
Hey Jim, good morning.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. Sorry again for your loss.
Oh, thanks. Yep.
Um, I just have a question. So we are about to like we're still in the process thinking things out with my my fiance. I would say it like legally fiance still.
Okay.
But we got married traditionally this weekend, and we're just thinking about the letter that she has to write when doing the I-130, saying that she can sponsor me and all those things. We were wondering if I could, since I work and I have a pretty good job, and we're wondering if we could add me or use my job as a way to show that we are above the 125% poverty guide.
No, that's almost impossible to get them to do that. They don't care if you're a millionaire or a street sweeper who makes $5 a day. It all depends on the U.S. citizen, not on you. So it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to get them to consider your income in that calculation. If she's not making enough on her own, then you're going to need to find a co-sponsor.
Okay. Well, I know we've read on the sponsorship document that um, like cash money could be also used. What if we have some savings that mainly comes from my income,
Okay.
and it's in the shared account and everything?
Think of the dumbest person that you know. Think of who's the dumb. I mean, you don't have to say their name, but just in your mind, think about the dumbest person that you know.
Okay.
That's the person who's deciding your affidavit of support.
Oh boy.
So if you ask them to do any independent thinking, if you ask them to do any calculations of money, they can't do it. So there are all kinds of ways, they say, that you can satisfy the obligations of the affidavit of support. They can look at property. They can look at money in the bank. They can look at earnings history of other people. Sorry, there's some drilling going on here in the office. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, good. All that is in the rules and they say that they can do that, but they don't. They don't know how to do it. They will send it back twice and then they'll deny the case. So you can ask me lots of different ways that the rules say that you can get around that, but I'm telling you, you're going to be much better off and your case is going to be much faster and have a more likely chance of success if you do what I say and just find a co-sponsor.
Okay.
That's based on years of watching these guys. Are you in the United States or are you overseas?
I'm in the United States.
Yeah, so for sure. So you got to find somebody else to be the co-sponsor.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry again for your loss.
Oh, you're fine, Franklin. Thanks so much. All right, that was a nice fellow, Franklin, wondering about that affidavit of support. I'm always trying to tell people not to worry too much about all the options that they say that are available that aren't really available because they don't really mean it and they don't really have the bandwidth to do this properly. They basically just look at the forms and they say, "Oh, this person needs a co-sponsor. I don't want to do all this math," and they send it back with an RFE that you can't even understand. Oh, there's Franklin again. Let's say hi to Mrida. Hi, Mrida.
Hi, Jim. Good morning. I have a question regarding question 23 and N400 form.
Oh, great. What's the question?
Oh, okay. So it was like I answered no. It said like, have you ever been arrested, cited, or something like
Arrested, cited, detained.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, detained by a police officer. So I never had a traffic ticket by a police officer, but I had like 2 parking ticket and 1 like camera ticket in New York. In New York, camera ticket is like non-moving violation. It's on the car registration, not in my license, and I took my driving record like from my DMV, and there is no violation or anything. So like, is that okay? Or do I have to explain it during my interview? Do I have to explain to officer like I made a mistake or something?
I wouldn't say I made a mistake. So I take the position that parking tickets and red light camera tickets attached to the vehicle, not to the person.
No,
right?
in New York, no.
Yeah, but not everybody agrees with me. So the thing is, it's not a big deal either way. So if they say
it's $50 fine.
Right. So
for the
when they ask you that question, have you ever been arrested, cited, detained, all that stuff by any law enforcement official anywhere in the world? Say no, and then I would pause, and this is what I would say. I would say no, but now I do have 2 parking tickets and a red light camera ticket. Do you care about those? And they'll say no.
Okay.
So it's better to just talk about it, but it's not a big deal.
If they don't ask if they don't ask that question during interview, I just don't bring it up.
They'll ask that question. They ask that question every single time.
Okay.
That's one for sure they're going to ask.
Okay, but I never cited by a police officer.
Yeah, I'd say no. I haven't ever been cited, but I do have a couple parking tickets and a red light camera ticket. Do you care about those? And they'll say no.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jim. You have a great day.
Good luck,
Thanks for
Merida.
your
Do you know when your interview is?
No, I recently gave my biometric. Not didn't heard yet, but it should be like couple of months, I guess. My father told me.
Good luck, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good
See you,
day.
Merida. Okay, bye-bye. All right, let's say hi to Amin. Hi, Amin.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
Good, sir. Thank you. I'm talking to you from Iraq right now. I have a question for you, sir. I entered the United States at 2012 on August. After 2 months, I have a very, very hard situation in my hometown. So I had to back to Iraq. Since then, I try to do re-entry to the United States, so I can't. What is the chance for me? Can you help me with that, please?
So when you entered in 2012, what kind of a visa did you have? A B1, B2?
No. I came by I was working with the American troops in Iraq as a contractor,
Yeah.
like a special immigration visa.
So you had a green card?
No, I don't have. I have a social security number. I have a expired work ID. I have a I-94 also expired.
So did you ever apply for a green card once you got here?
No, I don't apply because they said I will have waiting for 1 year. After 1 year, then I can apply for the green card.
But you never did that.
No, I never did that because I told you I was have very, very special situation in my hometown with my family, so I had to back to Iraq again.
So, and then what have you applied for since then? Now that you're in Iraq, what have you applied for to try to come back to the United States?
I contact a couple of organizations. They apply for me about the humanitarian parole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they denied it. They said the humanitarian parole visa is just for temporary temporary status. You want to come in again and go back to want to stay. So I don't know what you do. I kept asking friends. I have a couple of friends over there. We asking a couple of lawyers. They know. No one knows how can I re-enter the United States.
That's because people usually don't do what you did, right? Usually
yes.
When people. So I don't know the answer to your question. I think you only get one shot at a special immigrant visa, and I think that shot has passed.
Yes.
So I think you're probably not coming back unless you have an independent way of coming here, like a family member or a job or something. But I don't think they're going to make it very easy for you, and I think the chances of success are pretty low.
Okay. So if I travel to the Mexico and I do like a asylum from Mexico at the border, is that work for me or not?
Well, I can't give you advice about coming to the border and entering without.
No. I don't mean enter the United States. No, at the border.
Well, they're not letting people declare asylum at the border right now.
Okay.
So I don't think that plan would be a good one. I mean, if you came into the United States, they put you in jail for a while, and then you could apply for asylum. But I think, that's being in jail for a month or two, and then a risky chance of whether or not you get asylum or not. I mean, it would depend on what proof you have that if you go back to Iraq, and the fact that you've been living there for so long is going to hurt your asylum claim, right?
Yes, sir. I don't meant I entered the United States illegally. I said I stay in Mexico.
I understand. I was taking it one step further. All right, Amin, good luck, buddy. Sorry I don't have more for you.
Thank you. Have a good one, sir.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, let's say hi to Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Mr. Jim. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, Mr. Jim, I've got a little bit of a complicated situation. I'm currently living in Norfolk in the United States. I came here 2019, end of December, on a spousal visa. Obviously, I got the 10-year visa. I mean, the green card. So when I did the initial application, I applied for myself and I applied for my son. Obviously, my son's biological father, me and him was going back and forth, basically to court. So which basically prolonged the process for him. But I sent in an initial application for my son. And then we received letters from Access, I think 2 letters. So, with COVID and everything happening, we didn't knew how long the court case was going to happen, basically in Namibia, the country that I'm from.
Mhm.
So my son's father and me initially got to an agreement to understand that it would be better for him to move to the United States. So I've already submitted in an application, which was like, one would say pre-approved, like that notification that you receive in the postal.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got that. And obviously between 2018 and now 2022, some time have passed. So like I said, I didn't knew, you understand, when we was going to be able to submit in the correct application, because I believe part of the application for a minor to move to the United States with the mother, you either have to have the other parent's consent, or you would need to have a letter from court to say that you got sole custody over the child.
Okay.
So obviously without that letter, I couldn't continue with the application and I had to put everything on hold. So now, since me and the father basically came to an agreement that it would be better for my son to come and live here in the United States, I want to continue with the application. But like I said, I received 2 letters in the post to notify me if I didn't notify them that they was going to cancel the initial application. So I have a month prior to the expiry date responded to, I don't know if it's a National Visa Center or Access, and told them that I would like to continue with the application because I was getting the paperwork ready for my son. But now they only actually read my email a month and a half after I sent it, which means, the application basically expired. So what can I do in such a case if I want to prove, but I actually, even though that it's, a few years that I responded, I did respond a month and 10 days prior to the expiry date as indicated on the application.
What year was your son born?
He was born in 2007.
So he's 15.
Yes, sir.
And you said USCIS approved the I-130. Was the I-130 filed by you or by your U.S. citizen spouse?
By my husband.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
And USCIS approved that I-130.
Yes, sir.
And when do you know roughly when that approval happened, Michelle?
That was in 2018.
Okay. So then your case gets to the National Visa Center and you begin processing it, but then you and your ex-husband are trying to figure out logistically where the kid should be.
Mhm.
And you paid the fees. Did you submit
Yes, sir.
did you submit a DS-260 form back then in 2018 or no?
It's only the initial, the first application. I believe that after that they sent you a notification through the mail, and then you wait about, the time period that I waited was like 6 months.
Mhm.
So then you had to pay another fee, and after you pay that fee, you basically upload the documents onto the site.
And you never did that?
No, I never did that for my son. I did it for myself. So I'm currently, like I said, in the United States, but I didn't complete that process for my son because the letter of consent from the father was needed, for me to continue with the application.
So then you and your ex-husband decide we're not going to move ahead right now on this. And then at some point you get this letter from the National Visa Center that says, hey, are you still interested in bringing your son here on this immigrant visa? If so, you have to respond by a date. And you replied a month and 7 days or a month and 10 days before that deadline, right?
Before the deadline, yes.
Yeah.
I think it was three letters that they normally send. They sent the first one, but
Yeah.
I wasn't present in the United States during that time. I only moved in 2019 in December. So then a second letter came. And then the third letter came. But, when I noticed the date, obviously it took me, a lot of convincing, to my son's biological father that it would be better for him to study here in the United States than in Africa. Yes.
So they sent you 3 letters.
Yes, sir.
When did you reply? Roughly when did this all happen with the letters? Was that in like 2020?
It was this year. And like I said, I applied a month and 10 days before the expiry of, yeah.
What proof do you have that you replied 5 weeks or so before the deadline?
It's like, it's like a public inquiry or something like that. A public inquiry site that you have to enter and then basically state your case. And then I had to get like a declaration from my husband because he is the applicant, about the whole process, which we've done. So then, since they didn't call back, I think, within a period of time, shortly before the expiry date, I called him. And then they told me that they was backlogged, which means, say, for example, if I sent the letter on the 10th of February, that was round about towards end of February, and they haven't gotten to the email that I sent.
So when was the last piece of correspondence where they said you didn't get back to them in time? What's the date of that?
They sent me a letter now recently in the mail. I was in South Africa for holiday. So I came back roundabout on the 28th of May. And they sent a letter about 2 weeks within my stay in South Africa. And then my husband called me and told me that they say that I had to start from new.
Yeah.
Because
You probably want to, and you probably do. I mean, the good thing is your son's only 15, so he's not in danger of aging out. But I think that we could take a look at everything, and then I think it's worth a shot to try to get them to revive the case, especially if you have some kind of proof that you sent.
Yes, I've done that. So the lady that I called at the National Visa Center, she's the one that told me, no, ma'am, the expiry date, I explained to her, I applied like a month and 10 days prior to the expiry of the letter. Yeah. And then she said, my apologies, but we're still at mails that's like backdated, like 30 days or 20 days backdated.
Right.
So, I was like, yeah. So I told her.
What I'm saying is I think that our law firm could help you get them to pay attention to your case, and to talking to operators doesn't really do anything. You need to get actual answers and get them to begin processing the case again. That's what needs to happen. So I would say, if I were you, I would have a lawyer start bothering them for a while. And then if it doesn't go anywhere after, say, 90 days, then just start over with the National Visa Center. You're not going to lose much just because you still have time, because he's only 15.
Yeah, because you see, the thing that like, I don't have a problem starting with the whole application, from scratch, but with the whole COVID situation happening, there has been like a very, very long delay on the application.
You don't have to go back to USCIS. That I-130 is still valid. This is just starting back over with NVC, so it's not that big a deal. Especially if they say it might take you longer to get them to revive the old case than it would be to just start over now.
Oh, okay. So you would recommend that I just want to start with a process like from scratch? Well,
at NVC.
Okay. No, I get you. I fully understand that, because, you actually make sense. I just really wanted to, let's keep a few hoops, and trying to get in here, like as soon as possible. Especially, with the whole school summer holidays and stuff, because in South Africa, they normally end like in December. That's when the school year is over. So, with here in the United States, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be here by then, but you can try. Good luck, Michelle. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jim.
Bye-bye. All right, let's say hi to Lily. By then, but you can try. Sunny. Lily, I'll come to you next. I got Sunny now.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jim.
Bye-bye. All right, let's say hi to Lily. By then, but Sunny. Hi, Sunny. Can you turn down that volume?
Hey, Jim.
Bye-bye.
How are you, Jim?
I'm good. Can you turn that down?
Yeah, do you need the volume up or down?
Down. I hear the last
Oh,
call.
okay. Let me just, how's it now? Any better?
No. Do you hear yourself?
More down? How's it now?
Better.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's better. What can I help you with?
I can't hear you now.
Oh. I don't know what are you listening to it on speakers or what?
I can't hear you now. I can hear you now. Okay. The problem is that I've been waiting 2.5 years. Me and my wife, she's from the Philippines. I am born here in New York City, and we finally got a notice that we're going for an interview in Manhattan, and unbeknown to us, that this interview we are labeled. I feel like I'm labeled as marriage fraud because it says Stokes. I didn't know what a Stokes was, and I called up my attorney. He explained it to me, and he told me, he says, well, don't get nervous, but they have you looked at as you're entangled in some kind of marriage fraud, which I think is so bizarre, since I spent 21 years in the service. I got out with a security clearance, a top secret security clearance, 2013. I'm a former immigration officer. I'm a former customs agent. I'm a former federal protective officer. 30 years in as a court officer for Supreme Court in New York City. I got all these awards from INS. All these awards from working the Cuban Refugee Relocation Program, which entangled 125,000 Cuban refugees. I actually got hurt over there. I made one of the biggest homicide arrests over there. And I also retired from NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigative Service. So I got 51 years of law enforcement experience. When I told this to the interviewer, he said, "Where are you going with this?" I think that is really so. I was just humiliated out of my soul. I says, this really makes no sense to me. I showed my patriotism. I showed my loyalty to the United States over and over again. Never got a traffic ticket in my life, nor did my wife. Clean records. She's been here 12 years. We have pictures from 12 years ago. My wife takes pictures every day. So we showed them the pictures. We have like over 1,000 pictures. We also been domestic partners, which we have it on paper that we have the certificate from Staten Island in 2013 showing we are together. And this is, to me, this is totally bizarre. And now we're awaiting their decision. We have to show numerous of all these documents we have to show. They were supposed to give us like a 30-day window to get all these documents. They only gave us 3 days. We had to rush through all these vaccines, which you can't give them all together because they have very negative effects if you do that. So we are now in the process of sending all these supporting documents, but the reading that I got is not too favorable upon us. And you know what? I'm going to start my own YouTube video starting in 2 weeks from now, and I'm going to get this out there. And it's very shameful that they have to do this to us and to other people. I'm sure I'm not the only ones, but this is disgraceful. They can do this. There's a modified method I came out with, which they can process. It's called Operation Streamline. I put together, and they could start waiving some of these ridiculous interviews because there are people with my backgrounds. They could clear it very easily, have us move along to make room for all the others that are waiting online for so long like us. Our lives has stopped, and I said this over and over again. We do have green cards, but our green cards, me and my wife have, are military retired green cards. I want to let them know we showed our patriotism to the United States. All we want to get is a fair hearing. We are very annoyed, aggravated, and I'm actually getting sick over it. I've been in the hospital 7 times this year. I had COVID in 2019, and I don't need this in my life. And I now co-host a TV show on Staten Island as well. So that's all I want to say for now. I don't want to take too much more of your time, sir.
Oh, you're fine, Sonny. And I want to talk to you for a little bit. I'm going to mute you just because that mic's still going. I'm just going to mute you while I'm talking. So Sonny had a lot to say, and Sonny, let me begin by saying thank you for everything you've done for this country. Thank you for everything you've done, standing up and like you said, showing your patriotism. I'm sure that the last thing you expected was for some little pissant immigration officer to say to you, "Where are you going with this? Like, shut the fuck up." I wonder. I have some thoughts that I want to share with you, but before I do, I want to ask you if you could talk to me about the length of the interview, how you and your spouse did, how your attorney said that you did in the interview. How you and your spouse did, how your attorney said that you did in the interview.
I would say let me lower it, maybe it'll be better. The length of the interview was, I would say, about 40 minutes. And the length of the interview was 2 red flags, I guess, on his part showed up that I own 2 homes, and maybe that bothered him. I don't know, but I wasn't even aware of where he was going with it until I called some of my immigration friends who are, they're GS-15s, they're supervisors, and I said, "What does this mean?" I guess I'm a little naive, even though with all my experience. He says, "Well, they think you're living apart." I says, "Really?" I says that's ridiculous, because we live a few days in one residence and a few days in the other. I have a lot of doctors in one area, which I have to go on a steady basis, and I don't want to do all this traveling back and forth. And my wife has some family in the northern part of the state. And, I worked 2 jobs all my life, and now I was able to afford it. Are they gonna penalize me for that?
Right.
Put me on a red flag list? I don't know what they were doing with this. The other issue is my wife, unbeknownst to her again, is that on her, when she was told to produce her birth certificate, it had the wrong date. She didn't even know about this, because the Philippines, they're not really, up on their, I guess their clerical paperwork up there. And there was a discrepancy of 3 days. You know what? For 3 days, are they gonna shake our world now for this 3 days? Now we got to go running through hoops. She had to send a telegram to her family in the Philippines to get this paperwork from the consulate. So we eventually got it back, but it cost us quite a bit of money to have it done so quickly. I also discovered that as a veteran, they're supposed to expedite our paperwork now 2.5 years, and I understand COVID was in the way, but for 2.5 years took way this long. At 7 years old, I don't know how much longer I could wait. It just we find the whole system is unfair, and to put us in this category. My wife speaks, as you know, Filipinos speak perfectly English, especially the new generation. And they have to remember one thing is we fought together in World War II, and they're great allies. I would say equal to Israel. And if you ever see a veteran, a military veteran, a Filipino, he's proudly wearing a Navy hat. You won't see this in any other categories. I'll just keep it very general. So they have to be aware of this, and it's the thing is their priorities are really off the kilter. They really are. They have to get their priorities in order. And like I say, they could streamline this very quickly. Very quickly.
Let me ask you a couple questions.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
You said your wife has been in the United States for 12 years before applying. What was she in status or was she out of status?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
You said your wife has been in the United States for 12 years before applying. Was she in status or was she out of status?
Yes, sir. Oh, prior to the 12 years, when you say in status, she overstayed.
Right. So
that answers your question.
So that's one of the fraud indicators. So that's
Right.
probably what triggered the Stokes interview.
Right.
And then my other question is there a big age gap between you and her? So that's probably what triggered the Stokes interview.
Right.
And then my other question is there a big age gap between you and her?
Oh, yes, sir. It's 21 years.
Yeah. So I'm going to mute you just for a second, just because the echoes drive me crazy. But yeah. So I understand being upset, given your background, having worked for the government, of being upset about the fact that they labeled it a Stokes interview. I think generally that Manhattan field office, I think they lean towards Stokes. I got a Stokes interview notice the other day, and I was like, "What are they giving this guy a Stokes interview notice for? This is a really straightforward case. Sounds like yours, right?" But I have videos out there that I've done on what are the fraud indicators. I've actually seen the fraud indicator checklist. You probably saw it back in the day. Number one is it was the beneficiary out of status for a long time, so that they have an incentive to marry someone to get back in status. And the other is a big age gap. Now, 21 years is not the biggest by far that we've had. We've had 38 years. So I understand being upset, but if you think of it as a computer with a checklist and says, okay, you get 5 points towards a fraud investigation if you're out of status, you get 5 points if the age gap is more than 10 years, you get 3 points if there's 2 addresses. I understand why you're angry and mad, but at the end of the day, you should get approved. This is an approvable case. You have a long history together. I understand getting upset, but for now we got to focus on getting you the green card. And then after that, like, I'd complain about the officer being rude to you about where are we going with this. So that I'll leave you with that. Those are my thoughts about the officer.
Well, I'm sorry. I should rephrase that. I don't want to take it personally. The officer is, I'm sure he's doing his job, and but it's the administration that I'm sure they go to meetings, they're training, and it has to tell them to do all this. He was respectful. The gentleman was respectful, but sitting on the other side of the seat with all that I put out there for him, I guess I did take it a little too personal, and it really affected me. I mean, it's just that the frustration that we have, our lives can't move. We can't. We have military cards. We could fly anywhere in the whole world as long as there's a military base. We cannot leave the country. So we have great benefits we cannot use. She can't go and see her mother, who's 80 years old. She can't go see a sister in Canada. I mean, our lives are just frozen still. And, it has to be a give and take. I don't see any. I think all this should be based on risk. And if they could really clearly show us where the risk is, because this is all based on risk. I know how I worked in the system, and when I worked for immigration, I was very fair. But I was out in the field. I was out in the field in riots every single day for 4 months, 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, and you could see there's movies on it. You could see how it was, and I just feel as putting my life on the line for both military and civilian. It's just frustrating to me that they should give me some flexibility, and that's the way I feel. It should be.
All right, Sonny, I'm going to let you go. That echo is driving me crazy. I got to let you go, brother. Good luck. Okay. Let me know how it turns out. Okay.
I will. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, bud. All right. So, my friends, you don't have to hear it from me. This dude worked for immigration and the federal government for 20 years. 20 years. And he was doing their work, doing what they asked him to do for 20 plus years, 50 years of service, I think he said. I have every reason to believe everything he said is true. But if they're willing to treat Sonny Tannenbaum like that, what chance do you think you have as a regular old person? They don't even do favors for their friends. That officer was rude to him. And listen, I as soon as he started talking, I knew what the issues were. I guessed the age gap, and I figured when he said that she was here 12 years, that was not in status. And so that's going to trigger a Stokes interview. That's going to trigger greater scrutiny. So I feel for Sonny. I sure hope his case gets approved. I'm interested to hear about his YouTube channel. I hope he can figure out that audio. That was going to give me a seizure. But I promised Lily that she'd go next. So let's bring her on. Hi, Lily.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for bringing me up.
Sure.
I have questions. I'm wondering, my green card. I have a conditional green card, and it's going to be expired next June or July. And unfortunately, my driving license or ID is expired in April. So, how can I renew my driving license with the few months as validity of the green card?
So how much time? So when did you file for your 751?
I think I need to do that in the next year around January.
So you're still in your original 2-year green card period.
Yes,
right now.
I'm a still conditional green card, and it's going to expire next June.
A year from now.
Yes.
And you're worried about what's going to happen then next June when your driver's license expires?
Yes, because my driver license is expired sooner than my green card. So if I don't have the green card, how can I renew my driver license?
Did you lost your green card?
No, my green card is going to expire next June.
Right.
And my driver license is expired in April. So
April of next year.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
so
won't they extend your driver's license for at least as long as the green card is?
I don't know. That's my question. I'm wondering, can I renew my driver license?
I mean, that depends. That depends on the state where you live. But let's think this through though. So let's say that your 2-year anniversary is June 15th, 2024, right? Okay.
Okay.
And let's say that your driver's license expires on April 15th, 2024, right?
Okay. 23.
Sorry, 23. Sorry. So April 15th, 2023, driver's license expires. June 15th, 2023, the green card expires. You can file for your 10-year green card on March 15th, 2014. You should get a letter back pretty quickly before April 15th that you can then take, and it'll be a 2-year extension of your green card. And then you can get your driver's license for 2 more years.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So I was wondering if USCIS is going to move fast, that they receive that letter quickly.
The letters come pretty quickly. They take a really long time to adjudicate the case, but the receipt notices on 751s, which include that 2-year extension, those come pretty quickly. So it might be close, but you might just not have a driver's license for a couple days or something.
Okay. And can I still working if my green card expired?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Okay. And my last question is that I got a new job. It's in a different city that at this moment my husband and I living. So it's kind of 4 hours far. So I was wondering, can I get that job and kind of meet each other at the end of the week? Or is going to be a problem for removal conditional green card?
Is there a reason why you can't do that job where you are now? Like, is it location-based job?
Yes, the location that I'm living, it's more government and federal based job. And since I'm not a US citizen, I couldn't get a job almost 1.5 year. So I could get a job in a university, which that university is far from my house at this moment, 4 hours.
So, okay, so let's talk about it. So there's two things. One is, how are we going to get the 751 approved if you're living somewhere different than your spouse? That's one question, right? And then the other question is, can I apply for citizenship after 3 years if I'm living apart from my spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two questions. So for the green card, you're going to want to demonstrate that this is like, you're going to want to demonstrate how you tried to find jobs where you live now. You're going to want to keep track of all your trips to see your spouse once you live apart or your spouse comes to you. You need to document. So basically, you have to show there's a good reason why we're living apart. You have to show everything you're doing to spend time together. And then the third part is, what's the long-term plan? What's the long-term plan? So all those things, you're going to want to submit a lot of that evidence of next year in March when it comes time to file that 751. You have to have a good explanation. Like, for instance, if like one time I had someone call me and they said, I live apart from my spouse because I can't work where she is. And I said, well, what do you do? He goes, I'm an Uber driver. I said, well, there's Uber drivers everywhere. So that doesn't make sense. But for a particular university, for a particular job, that's going to go longer. But like if you drive 4 hours to see your husband on Friday and drive 4 hours back on Sunday, you're going to want to keep all your gas receipts, toll receipts, anything that documents the time, or even keep a journal. You know, I left to go see him on Friday. I came back on Sunday. Keep track of all that time so that you can show that you're together. Now, that's for the green card. And that should get approved. With citizenship, it's a little bit trickier. So in the old days, this would be okay for the 3-year rule of applying for citizenship. But under Donald Trump, they changed the rule to say that you had to be living together basically solid for the 3 years. Now, I think you can still make that argument, but the cases aren't clear yet as to whether or not you living apart from your spouse would still let you apply under the 3-year rule. Does that make sense?
Okay, how about if it's going to be a joint lease for the new apartment?
Doesn't matter. It's about living together in marital union. So living together, some immigration officers take the position that means that you're together every day for 3 years.
So it means my citizenship is going to be postponed for the 5 years instead of 3?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much. That was all my question. Thank you for the advice.
You're welcome, Lily. Good luck. Congrats on the new job.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, let's say hi to Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for taking me. The question I have here is very simple. I have a niece in Jamaica. I am a citizen here in the United States, and my sister, who's her mother, is a legal alien in Florida. So she is sick in Jamaica, and we are trying to get her up here. So what's the possibility of getting her here?
What's her mother's status?
She's a legal alien in Florida. She lives
in
Florida.
Legal? Are you saying
She's
illegal
legally
alien?
here. Yeah, she's legally here in the United
What's her
States.
status?
I think she has her green card.
So why hasn't she applied to bring the daughter here permanently?
I think she was trying to, but did not take the steps of getting the paperwork through. So now that she is really sick.
What does that mean, really sick? Like, what's she sick with?
Well, actually, she has a blood clot in the leg, and the foot's turning really black. So it's at the point where, okay, it's an emergency.
They can't get treatment for that in Jamaica?
Well, the doctor is attempting to amputate.
Oh, God, how old's the kid?
She is, I think she's 27. She just had a baby 3
Oh, so
months
she's an
ago.
adult. This is an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the question is, do I think that the United States is going to give a humanitarian visa to somebody who has a blood clot in their leg and a mother in the United States? Do I think that the United States Embassy is going to give them a humanitarian visa? I think the chances of that working is about 3%, because they're going to say, you should have filed for your daughter a long time ago, and the fact that you didn't is your fault, not our fault, and you can still file for your daughter and just have to wait for her to come. But I don't think they're going to give her a visa to come to the United States.
Okay.
I think it's a very small chance of success.
Okay, so what about if
So-
I filed for her? Would that make a difference?
There's nothing.
No?
There's no application you can file for her.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good luck, Jackie.
Okay.
All right. Let's say hi to Ola. Hi, Ola.
All right.
How you
Hi.
doing?
All right. Oh, all right. Thank you. Yeah. Hi. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Okay. Thank you very much for your time today.
Sure.
And let me just go straight to the point. I came into the United States 2016 with my ex, two kids, and later on, because of the society, we had some issues, myself and my ex. But I mean, everybody just got to depart. So we both departed, but she got two kids. She got two kids for me, and I can't just abandon her that way with the two kids. So I have to be visiting her sometimes and take care. Give them some money.
Hey Ola, your microphone's sort of garbled. Is your phone like on the table or something? I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you hear me?
Okay. I'm holding it right now.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, I can hear you. You are very clear, right? Okay. Okay. So, while myself and my ex are departed, about a year later, I I found another lady out here and we got married. So 2018, I started filing for my green card and I included my two kids. Since that 2018 until about 2 weeks ago, we never heard anything from the USCIS. They never, said anything. I did a senatorial inquiry about 2 times. We never heard anything. But later on, I I decided to take the route of ombudsman inquiry. And when I did that, just last week, the immigration had to visit my wife in her workplace and told her that my marriage with her is fraudulent, that I still visit my kids and I still go, I live with my ex. And good thing is that my wife Aria knows everything about me. She knows, I visit my kids. In fact, sometimes she buys gifts for them. I'm a responsible dad. I'm not going to abandon my kids. I will do anything for my kids. But the thing is this, when the immigration visited my wife at her job, they had to convince her and force her and threaten her that she's going to end up in trouble for filing for me because the marriage is fraud and for green card purpose. So out of fear, she was so scared, and that thing met her so, met her so suddenly. So she had to sign the withdrawal paper.
Yep.
But my question in a straightforward manner is this: what is the legality or the justification of immigration visiting my wife at her job, not even a house, but at her job, and also threatening her that my marriage with her is false and threatening her to sign a withdrawal form? So I'm kind of baffled.
So, tell me what happened to your spouse that you entered the country with, your first spouse? They're still in the United States?
Yeah.
And what's their immigration status?
Yes, she's still in the United States.
Right, but did she apply for a green card? Did she marry somebody else and apply for a green card?
Yes.
Ola, they've seen this movie before, dude. That was the first question I wanted to ask you was, did the idea of a family coming to the United States and being in love and being married and getting that visit visa to the United States, bringing their kids, and then once they get to the United States, they both get divorced and marry U.S. citizens and apply for green cards based on these new marriages. I've seen that movie 80 times. I've seen it 80 times. So if I've seen that movie 80 times, they've seen that movie 8,000, 80,000, 800,000 times. So they are getting craftier. I haven't really heard of them visiting the U.S. citizen spouse on the new marriage at work to try to get them to withdraw it, but everything else you've told me doesn't surprise me. These are things that they do. They scare the U.S. citizen, they threaten the U.S. citizen, and they slide that piece of paper over to the U.S. citizen and say, just sign here. That Ola, he's a criminal, and you don't want to be part of his immigration fraud. He's going to get deported, and you're going to go to jail. So I'm certainly sorry that all happened, but they think you're engaged in a fake marriage. They think that you and your first spouse from back home are still married. And this is what they do to people. I'm not saying it's right or fair. I'm just saying we can't be that surprised.
Okay, so what do you think I can do? But because even though they've seen the movie, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, if they put like 1,000 people on the platform, at least you can probably find 2 people that are real.
Wait, what did you say? 1,000
Okay.
people? What? And can you
What
hold
I'm
the phone?
saying is
Can you
this.
hold the phone up closer? I can't hear you.
So what I'm saying is this. Okay, what I'm saying is this. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, I'm saying if they put like 1,000 people on a roll, like, okay, these are 1,000 people with similar cases like mine. Does it mean we can't find at least 2 people that are genuine?
Yeah, maybe, but that's not how they think. They think that, what country are you from? Can you hear me?
I'm from Nigeria.
Right. And so they are all, I mean, I don't know if you've watched my show before, but like,
Yes, I do watch it every time.
They're obsessed with Nigeria right now. And they think that everybody from Nigeria is lying to them. They think that everyone from Nigeria is running an immigration scam, and they're probably going to show up at the office of your ex-wife's coworker, or I'm sorry, spouse's workspace. And they're probably going to do the same thing. So when you ask me, what can you do? My question to you is this: what does your current spouse say? Because in any marriage-based green card case, it all comes down to what the U.S. citizen is going to do. What does the U.S. citizen like? Did the U.S. citizen kick you out? Are they done with you? Do they still want to help? Do they want to refile or what?
Thank you very much. My wife has always been supportive. She knows me. She knows the kind of person that I am.
Yeah, but she withdrew the case.
No,
She withdrew the case
out of fear.
Yeah,
They
but
threatened her.
Right. So what does she want to do now?
Right now, she's willing to support.
She's willing to file a new application.
Yes, she's willing. Yeah.
Do you know? Did they take a recorded statement from her, or did they just get her to withdraw the application? Like, did she sign something other than the withdrawal? Like sometimes they'll write out a statement and say, my name is Joanne and I married Ola and he paid me $5,000 and this is all fake. And like, do you know what else she signed?
No.
Yeah.
So
Ola, the big thing now is your wife. Like, what is she prepared to do? Like, if you and she were to come into my office, I'd come at her pretty hard. I'd pretend we're sitting across from each other in an office or at her workplace again, and they come back. Like, what if they come back the second time? and now she's already withdrawn it. So your case is in trouble, and your ex-wife's case is probably also in trouble.
Yes. Okay, so what do you think I should do, please?
I think somebody needs to talk to your American wife and say, look, lady, are you willing to go to bat for Ola or not? Because you didn't last time. You folded last time. And, you know, what happens the next time they come knocking on your door? All right, Ola, I got to go, brother. This is the end of the show.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So you heard it here. I mean, what a show. We had an immigration services officer of many years experience. And it's funny, I've always wanted to have an immigration services officer on my show, but I never thought he'd be calling as someone persecuted by USCIS themselves. Maybe we'll have to get him back on the show. He seemed like quite the character. If we could figure out that audio, he'd be fun to have on the show from time to time. But as I mentioned after his call, if they're going to treat him like that, imagine how they're going to treat everybody else. So we'll be back tomorrow. Huli, 4:00. Yes, 4:00 tomorrow. We'll be back. I'll be answering all of your immigration law related questions. Bring them. We'll see you tomorrow. And if you haven't already, if you leave us a review at reviewhackinglaw.com, we'd really appreciate a 5-star review. Boy, Huli's a great producer. I just start to think of something and she gets it up on the screen. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. And then Wednesday and Thursday, I think we're going to be at 1 o'clock both days. But tomorrow, 4 o'clock. We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in.